Once again, welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. Let's go again, discover Switzerland, presented by NatHab expedition leaders Andrea Serena and Annie van Dinther. Thanks so much to both of you for being here today. I'll turn it over to you, Annie.
Thank you, Colby. We appreciate all the hard work that you do to put these together. And thanks to all of you for signing on. We can't wait to share more information with you about Switzerland. A few little updates. I am not coming to you today from Alaska. I am actually presenting from Michigan. We're visiting family here. So that means this webinar is going to be an adventure for me because all of the things that I'm used to taking care of at home to make sure that it's quiet in the background or other internet things, this is our first time trying it here. So if things come up, we'll tell you what's going on and we'll make it work as we always do. I would like to welcome my special guest today, Andrea Serena. He is the lead expedition leader for Switzerland, and I can't wait for him to share more information with us on this phenomenal place. Andrea, welcome.
Thank you, Annie. Welcome everyone to this virtual trip through the beautiful Switzerland. Thanks to be here, and I hope you will enjoy our time together.
Fantastic. So let's get going on this incredible place. Before we talk about the second part of the adventure, so if you tuned in, we did a webinar in May that talked about the first part of our Switzerland itinerary. We're going to review a little bit of that itinerary and then jump into the second part. So the trip starts in Zurich. Tell us about this a little bit, Andrea.
Well, yeah, we start in Zurich, which is our meeting and starting point. It's a very nice one-man-sized city, beautiful city, modern, but very careful about the environment and with plenty of green areas, so we like it even more.
Fantastic. And then another highlight of the beginning of the trip is this location. Tell us about this spot.
Very, very interesting place. We are here in the Baserauner Valley. First day, first nice stop for us. And this is the Wildkirkli Cave, famous in that area to be, well, first of all, a jewel created by natural agents, and then because it was a famous recovery for the Neanderthal man, and a lot of fossils were found there, especially bear cave fossil.
Wow, I would be nerding out on that for sure. And this is one of the spots that I think I would be most excited to go to on this whole entire trip. This is a restaurant that is built into the caves, Asher Inn, or into the side of the mountain rather. And to me, it would be an incredibly special experience. After we go to the inn, then we head up towards Julier Pass. And this can be a pretty exciting place depending on what the conditions are like, correct?
Yes. As we can see here, we found within few weeks a completely different weather and landscape, but it's something normal at high altitude and never creating big problems during the good season. So yeah, let's see next time how it will look like the Julier Pass.
There we go. And the Swiss National Park, this is a really special treat to enter this beautiful landscape, an incredible forest, and then all the species that one might be looking for as you visit that forest. After the national park, you're going to go on this phenomenal train. I mean, this looks like it is elegance, well seeing such incredible landscapes. This to me is sort of the height of super classy travel. I think it would be really fun. Would you agree, Andrea?
Yes, absolutely. This is a very special train ride, very special day. Here our guests are enjoying a very special experience in Switzerland from St. Moritz to Zermatt. This is a world famous train trip, the Glacier Express, and this will make you happy, trust me.
All right, and then of course there's just getting to visit the culture in these small towns, really learning what it's like to be in Switzerland. All of these words are hard for me to say, so am I right that this is Zermatt?
Yeah, correct.
All right, I'm learning. And the Matterhorn, of course. This is an incredible mountain that you get great views of and an opportunity to walk around. So this is a really special treat and of course very famous in the Alps. Tell us about this species, please, Andrea.
Yes, while hiking, we might see some interesting domestic animals as well. Very important also for the local economy. And in this case, a famous and protected breed, and a very ancient breed, the Valais black-necked goat. We're gonna spot them for sure.
Fantastic. And then after we get a chance to see these animals, we go to the, I might say it wrong, Garnergrat Observatory. Tell us, I think this is where we left off with our guests last time. Tell us about this.
Yes, after a nice evening in Zermatt, the day after we will go up to another iconic place, the famous Garnergrat Observatory and Resort, which you which you see here, with the Matterhorn behind. Beautiful place and beautiful stay.
It looks like it is like another world, very modern meets old world Europe. It's such an interesting combination. And from what I understand, there's phenomenal views of the glaciers while you're there. Is that correct?
Yeah, is yeah, goosebumps up there, facing the third larger glacier in the Alps, the amazing Gorner Glacier, descending from the Mount Rosa group. That's 40 kilometers squares, 14 kilometers long. It's beaten only by the Alich Glacier in the whole continent and the Fiesche Glacier. But sadly, it has dramatic records since the mid-19th century. The Gorner lost about the 40% of its body. We see it also in a 180 degrees panoramic photo here, which includes the Matterhorn. And we see it again on the other peak, as we see it in total comfort from our rooms. And trust me, not many people in Europe had like to spend a night up there and to join a view like that. Tell you that because I spent a lot of time in that country and I know a lot of Swiss people, and not even the 5% of them had the chance to visit all the highlights we are going to see in 9 days. And Garnergrat is for sure one of the top highlights.
You know, I think that's so true. I just spoke with two of our other Swiss guides, and they said the exact same thing. They said, you have managed to pick all of the spots on the itinerary that even us Swiss people would love to go visit and explore. So that's a really exciting part. When we stay here and we're viewing this beautiful glacier outside of our room, can you tell us, are we learning then about some of the conservation efforts that happen in Switzerland regarding glaciers?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, we know that the glaciers loss are generated mostly from CO2 production, from human activities, deforestation, exploitation of fossil fuels, global warming. To stop it, we must optimize energy consumption to avoid waste, choose renewable sources, opt for sustainable mobility, choose 0 kilometer services, and limiting the intensive farming. But something interesting is tested on the Rhone Glacier, for example, which is smaller than this. It might sound weird, but it's actually working. So for at least 8 years now, people there have decided to cover parts of the glacier with white sheets. The fabric reflects the sun rays, slowing the melting. Is a brilliant move, which only requires a lot of patience and a lot of fabric, but it's working on smaller glaciers. And who knows? I think soon they're going to try to do that also up in Gorner. Who knows if next month we're gonna see that?
It's a very creative idea, that's for sure. And I'm sure it's really interesting as our guests move along through this trip to learn about the Swiss approach to conservation. So tell us about this. I find it interesting that this is a photo at night. What are we seeing here?
Yeah, this is a night view from the terrace of the Garnergrat hotel, the place we are going to stay. And where, if we are lucky enough with the weather, we will have an incredible view that can help us to almost touch the stars. In fact, that is one of the most important observatory and space data collector station of the European continent.
Wow, that is super cool. And this next picture, we do have marmots in Alaska. There's a couple trips in Alaska where our guests might be lucky enough to see these little guys, or sometimes they seem quite big, actually. Tell us what this experience is like when we're in Switzerland.
Wow, I love them. They are super fun. Yeah, the morning after our night in Garnergrat will be time to go down to Zermatt again, and with the possibility to continue to spot some wildlife, such as this beautiful Alpine Marmot, which is a large ground-dwelling squirrel. They eat plants such as grasses, herbs, as well as grain, insects, spiders, worms. But yeah, they prefer young and tender plants over any other kind. Here was the end of August, more or less. And of course, we found them very healthy and fat while they try to eat as much as they can before the winter hibernation, which is very, very important because some marmots starve to death due to their layers of fat running out in wintertime. And that's happening mostly in the younger individuals. The marmot is also connected to another alpine beauty, amazing beauty, because in fact, she's the favorite prey of the golden eagle.
All right, well, that is going to be exciting to travel to that area and see the wildlife. Now, I'm going to try to say this, Lauterbrunnen Waterfalls. Did I get it?
Perfect. Yeah, the next stop will be this magical valley, Lauterbrunnen, house of the waterfalls, how just like the Swiss people call it. And as you can see here with a couple of examples, they are mostly generated by the water coming down from the Jäger, the Monk, the Jungfrau mountains, of course. But we're gonna see those three giants in a bit.
Fantastic. And this is Muran?
Yes, with a cable car, we will reach this very special place. Muran is a magical little town that became famous, giving the start to the classic alpine tourism in Europe, and that was smart and responsible enough to keep its culture and tradition, creating a place where the mass tourism didn't arrive. And just like Zermatt, this is another free cars town, a place where the renewable energies are a must and where the people move around on foot or with electric caddies, just the one you see here, the one usually used in the golf course. Muran is a jewel for real.
Wow. I think I would love to visit a town that is car free. I think that would be really, really fun. I have visited a few in like remote places where you couldn't get a car to that location, but never in a really busy, bustling urban area like that. Tell us about this animal. It is so elegant.
This is a beautiful and amazing animal, the chamois, a goat antelope with no rivals on the Rocky Walls. Of course, together with the ibex, which who knows, we might spot as well. And now the chamois has a great population in the Alps, but was really struggling decades ago due to a very bad hunting and even worse poaching. They can climb in 15 minutes 3,300 feet of vertical rock walls. They live in herds up to 15 to 30 individuals, with usually males that tend to live alone for the most of the year. And this one is a beautiful female. We can recognize that looking at the horns, the angle of the horns, but I will tell you how to check that when I see you in Switzerland.
All right, sounds like a plan. And so are these more chamois here, or is this a different species?
Yeah. These are more chamois, and I wanted to show you this picture because what I saw that day was it made me fall in love. They are chamois next to one house, just eating peacefully, but isn't something normal. But the reason they were there is special. The locals told me that this special moment happened only a few times a year, right when the hunting season opens in the nearby areas, because these animals through the year understood that for them was a salvation to move up to Muran, where the nature is protected and hunting is forbidden all year long. So, of course, they don't know that, but, that's what makes this thing special, is an example of how there can still be a connection between us and the wild animals. And, it is about respect as well. So it was a very special moment, and I hope to show you that there.
That's very interesting that, of course, they know which area is dangerous and they move into a different area. We see the same thing with moose in Alaska, that during different seasons, they'll go to different regions depending on food availability and also depending on things like hunting season. All right, this trip really has, a big attraction with the hiking. I love this photo. Tell us about where we are, what we're seeing here, what the location is, and then also tell us a little bit about the hiking on the trip.
Well, Muran will be the base for some amazing hikes and experiences. And by the way, all the hikes are never dangerous and never too challenging. This is a walking trip, so we must be fit, but it's all about enjoying the environments and the beauty of the nature, not to get destroyed at the end of the day. So nice hikes, but never dangerous and never too challenging. And this is a beautiful, beautiful hike. It's the beginning of the Mountain View Trail, which will lead us to discover all the alpine meadows of the area, and they are wild but also domestic biodiversity, as you will see.
Fantastic. And so is this the train that you go on seeing it again, or is this something different?
Yeah, this is the oldest electric train we will use in Switzerland. It's a nice restored vintage train that will help at the end of the Mountain View Trail to go back to Muran, enjoying the view while using zero impact transportation.
I love going on train trips. I think there's something just incredibly special about them. You get to just sit back and relax and enjoy the scenery. There's something about it that really is quite wonderful. So would we see this as we're traveling along with the train?
We saw these while hiking near the Mountain View Trail. This was interesting because Muran is a small town where lives no more than 400 people, and their culture and tradition are very important for them. And here was a nice moment we saw while hiking with the local shepherds all together, reuniting the sheep to mark them and to make them fully check up. And yeah, people here are very relaxed, hard workers, but easygoing people. Yeah, very nice.
I love it when we have that opportunity on trips to really get a glimpse into what it's like for people who actually live in that area. I think that's just a more intimate way to experience a place and come away with a deeper understanding. So I guess this is also when you are hiking, correct?
Yeah, not only sheep, but especially cows up there. Here is an interesting breed. It's called Hinterwald. That is a cow with great rusticity, longevity, fertility, and very nice grazing aptitude. They roam around in peace, and it's nice at certain time to see them getting all together again and going back to the farm when they hear the farmer calling them. Because they are smart, they know that they will get milked, and that means they get also dry hay, which they love for dinner. So it's nice to see them.
They look absolutely beautiful. And so tell me a little bit about these mountains. You know, as someone who grew up here in Michigan, my father decided to start climbing 14ers in Colorado when I was in, I think it was in middle school. And so do people climb these mountains? Tell me about the three that we're seeing here.
Wow, these are special mountains. Also, the picture also, this is a view from the Mountain View Trail, so just to understand how beautiful that hike will be. And here we face three very important peaks, especially the first on the left, which is a true legend. His name is Eiger. And well, the north face of the Eiger is for sure one of the most beautiful, dangerous, and difficult rock wall to climb in the entire Alps. And is part of the famous trilogy, Matterhorn, Eiger, and Saint Juras, which are the three most dangerous mountains to climb in the whole Alps. It gave birth, the Eiger, to books, documentaries, lots of movies, and that North Face also gave name to a world famous brand that everybody knows. It has a large areas of perennial snow and glaciers, and is subject to a lot of landslides, discharges of stones, especially during the summer season. Of course, due to the melting ice during daytime. And for this reason, the wall was avoided until 1930, when several attempts were made to climb it, but taking many lives away. Also challenging and beautiful, the monk in the middle and the Jungfrau on the right. And last thing, we can't see it here, but behind them, there is the largest glacier of the entire Alps, the beautiful Alich Glacier. And all together are, of course, a UNESCO heritage site.
Wow. And we have to remember as we're moving through these kinds of terrains to look up, because there is also incredible wildlife in the sky. So tell us about this array here that you have of these three incredible birds.
Beautiful. Yeah, the area is full of surprises. And this is another perfect example. Another photo I took while hiking there with the guest, and where we can see an amazing thing with a golden eagle flying next to an harrier while he's attacked by a raven, which is the only bird here in Europe that have the attributes to attack an eagle. In fact, is the smartest bird in the planet together with some parrot species. Beautiful moment, and it was even more special because at some point also an alpine swift joined the club for a few seconds, and yeah, well, amazing.
Fantastic. Now, when I move to this next picture, we're going to have some sound that comes with it. And I just want to give people a heads up so that they will just listen for a moment as I turn to the next image here. So tell us about this instrument. This is the sounds of the Swiss Alps.
Yeah, the most beautiful Swiss sound. The gentleman is an Alphorn player, and he gave our guest a real traditional experience, a special moment in a special place where he played that beautiful ancient instrument, and also telling us a lot about the local culture, traditions. The Alphorn is made using the trunk of a spruce, and it has a remarkable sound, which can be heard a few kilometers around. Because its original function among the shepherds was to communicate over long distances. This is a very special moment. Beautiful sound, beautiful.
How did you do when you were learning how to play it?
Oh, I was too bad, the worst of the group. I was like exploding. Is not that easy. It's like you need to, wow. It's hard. It look, just it's hard. It's hard. I couldn't.
So this isn't going to be your new career path, huh?
No, not this one. No. But the guests were few guests were very, very good in playing that. It was just me, just no way.
You have lots of other talents, Andrea. So this next image, I feel like I should have a theme song that goes with this one, because on this one, I see 007. So tell me what this could possibly have to do with James Bond.
This will be like ta-na-na. Yeah, the first place we will reach after saying goodbye to Muran is the Shieldthorn, a mountain that became famous decades ago due to this 007 James Bond movie on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Up there, we will join an unforgettable breakfast, I will say, in this famous restaurant called Pete's Gloria. That moves 360 degrees around and that permit you to see an outstanding view while you are having your breakfast, drinking your coffee, having your fried eggs. The place is also like a 007 museum, so if you like the saga, you will love that place.
And tell us what this is.
Yeah, sorry, Annie.
This is something you see from the 007 breakfast spot, is that correct?
Yeah, this is just opening the door of the restaurant, and yeah, that's the view. Of course, we can walk open air as well and enjoying the view as you can see here. And to go to the platform, of course, if the day is not too windy and if we do things in safety. Amazing viewpoint, not only on the Alps, but also on the pre-Alps. Very nice.
Super, super beautiful. And then after this, we really do switch to quite a different landscape. This looks luxurious to me. Tell me about this area.
Yeah, we change environments completely and to discover the most Mediterranean place and weather as well in Switzerland. This is the Geneva Lake and its beautiful Riviera. And our base there will be the famous city of Montreux, famous to be in one of the most beautiful area of the lake, and famous for its culture as well, being the European capital of the jazz music. There, lot of famous people used to live, like Charlie Chaplin, Lord Byron, Freddie Mercury. Is nice, and not far from Montreux, there is the town of Gland, where the WWF headquarters are located.
Fantastic. And then,
Lake Geneva.
go ahead.
Sorry, Annie. Yeah, we see here Lake Geneva. Yeah, well, it's a classic lake created by ancient glaciers. 60% is Swiss, 40% is French. Famous not only for the tourism, but and that's what we look for. Famous for the special environment, important habitat for many species, especially birds. Yeah, very nice place.
And is this steamboat the way that we get around in Lake Geneva?
Yeah, of course we will discover the lake, and we will do it using the best way possible. So using this traditional paddle steamer boat is original, is over a century old, and will help us to visit the lake and to spot some birds, hopefully.
Beautiful. And so the common eider, is this one we can expect to see when we visit this lake?
In August, yeah, for sure, for sure. We want to show you that. Beautiful bird, beautiful bird.
And here's a few more, the kingfisher and the great cormorant.
Yes, these are just few examples, but yeah, I think during the summer, we can spot at least a couple of maybe 20, 30 species if we,
Wow.
you know, if we look with patience there. Yeah, beautiful.
And then we head, after being at Lake Geneva, to Les Diablères. Did I say that right? I think I slaughtered it.
Yeah, Le Diablare. Yeah, our last alpine destination will be, of course, another beautiful place near the location of Le Diablare. This is called Glacier 3000, because at 3,000 meter, almost 10,000 feet. And we will face another alpine glacier, and this time we will even walk on it. It's an experience full of meanings. It's not just about to visit a special and beautiful place, but also to understand and to taste closely what the alpine glaciers are facing with these until now unstoppable climate change and global warming. The area, in fact, was totally covered by ice and snow all year long until a few decades ago, something that now happening only during the winter season.
Wow. And so this is a walkway we can take to experience this glacier, correct?
Yeah, this is a simple, beautiful hike, very interesting installation, which bring you to see fantastic views all around without particular difficulties. This hanging bridge is called Peak-to-Peak Walk, and is the first bridge built in the world that connect two peaks, and of course is on our list.
It seems like you get to really experience this glacier. Like, this is even people walking on the glacier. Does that hurt the glacier at all as we hear about them retreating? I just wonder if it's like wildflowers or a, special trail.
It's fine. Yeah, we will have the chance to hike on the glacier. And by the way, those tiny black spots are actually some of our guests with one of our guides. And they are eating to the beautiful giant rock where we're gonna have lunch. The glacier is safe, and there are no problems walking on it, because you can just walk through that straight line where we are allowed to walk. And which is constantly kept soft and non-slippery by the passage of the snowcat, and also because the summer temperatures melt constantly the ice. So it's safe. We are not going to damage anything. We are just going to experience a unique walk.
I think this is really interesting because, thinking about our wide variety of trips, I'm in Antarctica, you would maybe have an opportunity to walk on a glacier. And perhaps on our Greenland trip, I haven't guided that trip, so maybe when it's time for answering questions, Colby can let us know if you get to walk on a glacier, but I can't think of very many other trips that this opportunity would arise. So I think this is truly a special opportunity to experience one of our most incredible, features on our planet. Now, we go to a different area again here. I love that you really do see all the highlights of Switzerland on this trip. Tell me about this beautiful landscape, because this is a place I definitely want to visit.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's gonna be weird because at Glacier 3000, for the first time, we have the chance also to see from far, to spot the Mont Blanc, the highest peak in Europe. And after an hour driving, we are here. And this is another place for a memorable moment. We will dedicate time to visit the Levo Riviera on the Lake Geneva again. This area became, in 2007, the first French Switzerland UNESCO World Heritage Site, thanks to the beauty of the terraced vineyards that make the Swiss shore of Lake Geneva special. And thanks to the hard work for centuries made by the Cistercian monks. Just amazing.
So, I have a question that one of our guests asked while we were presenting. So this is back to Lake Geneva here, but it's the French side. Whether you're on the Swiss side or the French side, are there fish in Lake Geneva?
Yeah, the most famous and the most wanted in the restaurants are the trouts. There are a couple of species of trouts, and then some hybrids, because especially during the 70s and the 80s, a lot of American trouts were released as well into the lake. So there is this kind of problem with the hybridation, but I know they are working hard to restore the old genetics, and yeah, the number of the autochthon species is growing up. So yeah, a lot of fish, tasty fish, and yeah, let's see if we're gonna taste that.
Nice. Okay, so this, I believe, is one of the vineyards there on the French side of Lake Geneva, but this is, of course, a very famous person here. Tell us about this image.
Yeah, we will visit a famous vineyards property. Yeah, we will discover this 13th century cellar, and have, of course, some wine tasting, some nice wine tasting. The gentleman you see on the right is Charlie Chaplin playing hide and seek behind the barrels you can see on the left pic. And because in fact this was the favorite Charlie Chaplin winery, and yeah, we're gonna be there as well.
Well, it sounds like you would have quite a time on the side of Lake Geneva drinking phenomenal wine. Let's go. Sounds like a plan to me. Tell us about this here.
Well, this is the last one. Before to thank you, I'd like to leave you with another amazing view, also from the Levo Riviera, with these amazing colors and scenery. One of the many we will enjoy in Switzerland, and hopefully that we should that should remind us how lucky we are to be there, how beautiful is our planet, and now is more and more important to protecting, to trying to save it, and how big is the privilege to know these places, and especially how important is to discover them with the right respect. And I think yeah, NetApp is doing a great job with it. So yeah, I just thank you very much for your patience.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful trip filled with so many vistas. And we did have a big change from the last time that we presented. So when we presented in May, Switzerland was not yet open. And since then, it has opened and people can go on this trip. So we wanted to leave some time today for people to be able to ask questions about this itinerary. So we can open that up now, Colby, and maybe at the start of the questions, you can let us know if you get to walk on a glacier in Greenland.
Yeah, thanks, Annie. Thanks, Andrea. This has been fantastic. We've had a lot of comments on just how lovely your imagery is. Thank you for sharing everything about the trip. In Greenland, we do sometimes have the opportunity to get on the glacier. It's very opportunistic. That trip, we fly by the seat of our pants. We don't really have a strict itinerary. We have a strategy for a lot of the things that we like to accomplish, and then we work with the weather, the tides, whatever the local conditions are. And so every trip is a little bit different. But we do have the ability there to certainly see and get right up close to all the glaciers and the Greenland ice sheet, but potentially to walk on it. Yeah, sure. Let's stick to this trip for now. So before we start the Q&A, I would like to remind everybody, you can submit your questions via the questions field that's in your control panel. And we have had a number of questions that have come in during the trip. So let's start with, I think this was in relation to Lake Geneva, Andrea, but you were speaking of a place that was 40% French and 60% Swiss. Can you tell us how that works? Is that just the demographic makeup of the communities? Is it actually on the border? What language does people speak there? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, well, these make Switzerland special as well. It's a big melting pot, especially in terms of languages. During our trip, we will start hearing German. Then between St. Moritz and the Swiss National Park, we're gonna hear some Italian and then German again. And then in a small area, also some very ancient Swiss dialect called Romansh. And then at the end of the trip, we're gonna be here near Geneva, hearing French. This is normal there, but I remember the first time I went to Switzerland, it was so weird, but I mean, Swiss people talk easily 3-4 languages, almost everyone speaking English, and we're gonna get used quick to these languages changing. But for sure is something, one of the most important thing about their culture, this mix of languages. In this case, in Geneva, in Montreux, in Les Vaux, mostly we're gonna hear French, but we will speak English all around. So yeah, we just gonna enjoy the languages, but we will never have any problem to communicate.
Yeah, okay, very good. A number of people really latched onto Lake Geneva when you were speaking about it, in particular the wildlife that's there. So I saw some birds that are fish eaters. What kind of fish live in there? Are they all small bait fish? Are they really big? And then specifically, someone was also asking what type of cormorant was pictured.
The cormorant was the common one, which is the species that we mostly found in the whole continent, all around Europe. Mostly we found the one you saw in the picture, and then sometimes a smaller one, which is more brown, called the marangol. But the common cormorant is very, very typical as birds to see, especially on lakes, rivers. They don't have huge giant fish in the Geneva Lake. Well, at least not the giants you have in the United States. I know that just watching a documentaries. Unfortunately, didn't see them in reality yet, but you know, we have nothing bigger there than a typical salmon that you commonly have in your streams in North America. A really interesting species, sorry if I jump into mammals, is the presence there of the beaver. After centuries, there was this very, very important reintroduction program that started 30 years ago, more or less. And now they are, you know, kind of breeding all around. Of course, I'm talking about very special protected areas. But, you know, the scientists are continuing finding, you know, new nests and new dams. So probably that's the rock star in the Lake Geneva, much more than the birds and the fish. But yeah, to answer again to your question, nothing much bigger than a salmon, and especially we talk about trouts.
Okay, very good. Thanks for that. How about some questions about elevation and altitude? Do you know what the highest elevation is that our guests will experience on the trip?
Yeah, is gonna well, we gonna sleep in Garnergrat, which is more or less 10,000 feet, right? But no worries about altitude issues. And this is a good question, by the way. Most of our accommodations are already at 5,000–6,000 feet. And this means that our body will get used, is already acclimating step by step, and we didn't have any problem connected to it. It's very helpful, very important to keep hydrated, to drink enough water, to eat properly, having especially nice breakfast in the morning, and to sleep well a good amount of hours, and everything will be fine. Yeah.
Nice. Colby, I also have some fish stats here, just to jump back to that for 1 second. There's 400 tons of perch caught in Geneva per year, and there's a whitefish, which is called Fera, has 500 tons caught. Then there's, from there, trout, char, and pike, which all linger between 15 and 40. So there are quite a few fish that those familiar with sort of like the Midwest of the United States would be quite familiar with.
Yeah, very good. Thank you both. Great follow-up information. Andrea, you were starting to tease in with the altitude a little bit about the challenging aspects of the trip. So a number of viewers are asking, how physically challenging is this? Like, what should they be prepared for? How does it compare to perhaps other NatHab trips?
Well, we never gonna make hard hikes, as I told you before. Let's say we will usually walk 5–6 miles a day, and never hard or challenging hikes. Of course, as I said, this is a walking trip, and we all must to be ready, you know, to walk. We must to be fit enough not to climb the Eiger, but to enjoy the hikes we're gonna do together, but never too challenging and never dangerous.
As far as rating this compared to other NatHab trips, it's considered moderate to difficult. Guests will be hiking, and they will be hiking at altitude. So if somebody sort of doesn't do well with that combination of hiking and then being at a high altitude, we do take it easy getting into the higher altitude. So we start sort of, you know, Denver-like area, mile high, and then make our way up to the higher points. the distances that are described on our website, which people could check out, or they could check with their adventure specialists, are the ability to be able to hike 5 miles is a good reference point for whether or not this is a match for you. And then if you do go to the itinerary, you can click right on the description of moderate to difficult, so you could get even more information there. But then, of course, your adventure specialist can really help you sort out what's right for you.
Okay, thank you both for that. Another question, I've married a couple of them together here for you into one. What is the difference between a NatHab trip to a destination like Switzerland, or specifically Switzerland in this case, as compared to just regular tour companies?
I'll take that one, Andrea. And then if you have more to follow up, let me know. You know, the thing that NatHab does is, first of all, we go to these incredible places, and we do focus on learning about the natural history. You always have expedition leaders with you who, as you've heard here from Andrea, are highly knowledgeable about the glaciers and the mountains and even the local people. And then in addition to that, we have small groups. So I have looked into quite a few sort of European tours, and many of them are bus tours that have larger amounts of people on them, and you don't have that really wonderful ratio of 2 expedition leaders and 1 operations staff with a small group of people. And that can really be a magic recipe for getting to know a country and the place in really a wonderful way. Andrea, is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, as you said, I think something very important, especially when you do a trip like this, discovering the Alps and enjoying natural environments, is the small group. And we're gonna be around 12, and that's perfect to enjoy all together every single moment of the day. But even more because really has the mantra of NetApp said, you know, exploration through conservation. I mean, we really care, and NetApp really care a lot about the environments, and I think this is the only way, especially for the future, for this kind of tourism. So yeah, nothing else to add, Annie.
Excellent. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. A couple easy ones here. We'll just finish off a few last questions from people before we sign off today. Again, a lot of comments about your lovely pictures. The one that is up right now, where is that taken?
This is let me think. In the garden of the Levaux winery we went, and to be more precise, the place is called Clos de la République.
Okay, very good. Also, is the weather always as beautiful as what we see in your pictures?
Oh, well, we are mostly on the mountains, so we know that the weather can change quickly, especially in the afternoon, but usually never for too long time. So just in case, we will have some extra relax time, or we do some extra experiences. But, and honestly, I remember in 2019, we had a very windy, raining scouting trip, me and my colleagues, and then 2 trips completely sunny. We just had 1 hour of rain in Muran, and the guests had a lot of fun that day anyway. So we was very lucky in 2019. So yeah, hopefully this August will be the same.
All right, very good. Well, that's the last question we have time for today. I'd like to hand it back to you two for closing comments. Andrea, how about we begin with you?
Sorry, Colby, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah. Would you like to say a few closing remarks for everybody here?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks to be here right now with us for this virtual trip. But yeah, I hope, especially after this year and a half, which was a tough year and a half, to to start to see smiling faces up there in the environments I love. To join all together the beauty we have the luck to see, to visit. Yeah, I wish to see you up there, and if not, I wish you all the best, because maybe finally it's time to enjoy life again, hopefully. And again, thank you very, very much to be here.
And I am so grateful for all of you who sign on to these. It is such an incredible thing to be able to share the information with you, and we get to learn as we're creating them, which is always a treat. This trip is such a phenomenal trip, and there are spaces open. So if you do want to learn more about it and figure out if it's just right for you, I would highly recommend calling your adventure specialist and learning from them exactly what it entails. And I just want to thank you for being here, and thank you, Colby, for helping us make this happen. We really appreciate all your hard work.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to present today, both of you. I'd also like to thank everyone who tuned in to join us. You can join us again tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. I'll also include links to today's trips, so the Switzerland trip, in the follow-up email. We did record today's presentation, and we'll have the replay available on our website.